I was half drunk at a dinner party and had just gotten home to lay down and get ready for bed when my cell phone alerted me to a new message. I took out my cell phone from my pants pocket and glanced at it, waking up in seconds. It was from my daughter's homeroom teacher, Ms. Fong. "Hello Father Chen Lulu, are you asleep?" My head instantly hurt until it exploded. When I was 19, I didn't know any better and knocked up my girlfriend. She gave birth to her daughter Lulu and then left, following her stepfather to Thailand. Lulu was brought up by my mom. After my mom passed away 3 years ago, Lulu came to live with me. Lulu was always at the bottom of her class. As her homeroom teacher, Lulu's classmates were very good at studying. As Lulu's homeroom teacher, Ms. Fong relentlessly used my daughter as a negative example in the parents group, which made me lose face, and I usually kept my tail between my legs in the parents group, and never dared to say a word in front of Ms. Fong. I didn't expect Ms. Fong to take the initiative to chat with me privately and be so polite. When things go wrong, there must be a demon, and I had an ominous premonition. Was it that Lulu had gotten into some big trouble at school that she hadn't told me about? "Hello teacher." I sat up straight and respectfully returned the teacher's greeting with a humble gesture. "Lulu's dad, it's late, I won't be hitting you close to home, will I?" No, the teacher is welcome to intrude anytime." Ha ha ha, is flirting welcome too? My brain froze. Is this considered flirting? My first thought was that Teacher Fong's phone had been picked up. This person who sent me a tweet and chatted with me was definitely not the high and mighty reserved and elegant female teacher I had met during the parent-teacher conference. "May I ask? Are you Ms. Fang?" I was careful, avoiding her question. "Sorry, just a little joke, I hope Lulu's father doesn't mind. Maybe I gave you too much of a dull impression before. In actuality, in private, I'm a very avant-garde and fashionable woman. You could also say I'm very open-minded." My fingers froze and I didn't know how to reply to her. It wasn't that I didn't know how to flirt with women. Quite the contrary, it was my forte. I've known how to chase girls since I was 13, and I've never lost to any man in this area. But the opponent is not an ordinary woman, she is my daughter's homeroom teacher. The slightest mistake, I may be in the parents' group to become a beast of burden. So I didn't dare to show my true self easily. Ha ha ha. I sent a laughing emoji over. "Lulu dad, there's no need for you to be so formal when talking to me." Alas, it's hard to blame you, the impression I usually give everyone is indeed too stereotypical and pedantic. Why don't we do this? I'll send a few photos of my usual life over to show you. They're all very ordinary photos, and they can also help you relax. Without waiting for me to agree. Brush swish swish 7 or 8 personal photos came crashing over without a head. I clicked on them and was dumbfounded. Gosh, these photos are not ordinary at all. What kind of life photos are they? They are obviously portraits. Or the kind of portrait with very little clothing, almost can be called a personal portrait. I didn't think that Ms. Fong, who seemed to be so conservative, would have such a free-spirited side. But to be honest, Ms. Fong's body is so good that it's beyond my expectation. First of all, Ms. Fong usually wears a teacher's suit, which is loose and fat with no waist, not to mention lines. These portraits show off her figure perfectly. Ms. Fong's body is perfect. Large and gathered. I stared intently at the screen of my cell phone as the radar in my body went boom boom boom. The photo of Teacher Fong's heart took up a third of my phone screen. A thin string, along with a small scrap of cloth that could no longer be called cloth, just covering the 2 black beans, flashed before my eyes like a firecracker, as if it only took a single match to set my whole body on fire with the thought. I've been in the photography business for more than 10 years, and as a professional photographer, I've seen countless women, but it's rare for me to see a perfect body like Ms. Fong's that's hidden in a suit. What's even rarer is that Ms. Fong hasn't gone under the knife. Not a single place has been touched. Including the face. She had the kind of voluptuous beauty that was purely natural. I went back and forth looking at the several photos over and over again, almost looking through the screen kind of thing. 10 minutes later, Ms. Fong sent a WeChat over. "How was it? I still pass, right, as a woman?" I carefully sent a thumbs up over. "Lulu's father, I'm sorry, I may have been a bit slack in the past, I hope you'll be generous and not take it personally with me. Don't worry, I will definitely pay extra attention to Lulu's homework in the future. Strange, how come Ms. Fong is not acting like Ms. Fong at all tonight? Could it be that she's drunk? I just wanted to send a question mark. Ms. Fong's WeChat came again. In the past, I always thought that the parents behind students with poor academic performance must be very uneducated. I didn't realize that you're actually a very famous private photographer. It's my fault for not recognizing you with my eyes. I apologize. When she said that, I was instantly enlightened. If you have something to ask for, you will be courteous to others. If I guessed correctly, Ms. Fong must be trying to beg me. I didn't really want to have much personal contact with my daughter's homeroom teacher, and I especially didn't want to empathize with her after she sent over these extremely private photos. I was worried that if I empathized too much I wouldn't be able to control myself and show my true colors and I would have a hard time going to parent-teacher conferences. I was just getting ready to figure out how to rebuff her when she sent one. Lulu Dad, I'm a big fan of photography and love to take pictures. I wonder if you could help me with a private portrait session. My goodness, my daughter's homeroom teacher actually asked me to help her take private portraits. My friend, do you really not understand or are you just pretending not to understand? Private portrait is a portrait of a woman's secret place. If I really help her to take a private portrait, how can I still have the face to see her at the parent-teacher conference in the future? This is like this, Ms. Fong, although I am a private room photographer, but my level is limited, like you such a good body, such a high quality, you should find a higher caliber photographer. After I politely declined, Ms. Fong didn't reply for a long time. I thought she had given up and was just about to breathe a sigh of relief when she suddenly sent another Weibo message. If you can agree to help me take a series of private portrait photos, I can tutor your daughter for free for a year and guarantee that she'll be in the top 20 in her class for next year's final exam. I sucked in a breath of cold air. This Ms. Fong was not simple at all. She definitely saw my fatal weakness as a single old father. Although on the surface I didn't care a bit about my daughter's grades, in my heart, it was a pain in my ass. I have a sister who has been lazy and rebellious since childhood and does not like to study. 18 years old, has not yet become an adult, early love, premature birth because of hemorrhage, died. I am very afraid that my daughter will repeat the same mistake in the future. But I am a man, I don't know how to communicate with my daughter to let her know the importance of learning. It would be great if Mr. Fong could really keep his promise to bring up my daughter's grades. I hesitated for a while. I swear on my personal name that I'll do what I say. Mr. Fong's solemn promise swayed me. After further consideration, Teacher Fong and I came to an agreement. I would take a series of private portraits for her, and she would come to my door twice a week to tutor my daughter's homework. Ms. Fong was true to her word. On Monday night at 7:30 p.m., Ms. Fong appeared at my door. When I opened the door and saw her, I was deeply surprised. I didn't expect her to act so quickly. I could imagine how eager she was to have me take a private portrait of her. Ms. Fong also changed her usual frame, piling up a charming smile at me. I looked at her shiny mouth, and realized that she had put on lipstick tonight. My daughter was surprised and delighted to see Ms. Fong. At first she thought Mr. Fong was coming to her door to complain, but when she found out that Mr. Fong would be her tutor in the future, she was very happy. This also gave me some relief. My daughter's behavior at least proved that she was willing to learn, but she didn't have a mother who controlled her every day. The appearance of Ms. Fong just made up for this lack. Ms. Fong didn't say a word about letting me take pictures. In the second month's monthly exam, my daughter's grades improved dramatically, from the bottom 10s to the 32nd in the class. When I saw the ranking table in the parents' group, I, an old father, was so excited that I burst into tears. It is said that Mr. Fong is a 985 graduate, and his reputation is true. At this rate, it looks like there is hope for my daughter to enter a prestigious junior high school. Holding the mood of returning the favor, I asked Mr. Fong out on a cool autumn weekend. We sat down in a cafe with a nice atmosphere. Ms. Fong wore sunglasses and a mask and was dressed in a fashionable way. Slightly slouchy skinny jeans with a translucent white shirt plus a pair of sparkling pointy-toe high heels. The tail shirt of the shirt was tucked into the jeans, highlighting Ms. Fang's full buttocks to a very curvy and rounded shape. Do you know the feeling? It's when you see a woman and you get their urge. It's a bit unethical for me to describe my daughter's teacher this way, but it was what I really felt at the time. Her peachy ass was so beautiful that I could barely control my little partner. I had to open up my body as much as possible to let my little partner breathe and dissipate heat in order not to make a fool of myself. Teacher Fang, can I ask you why you must take private photos? Teacher Fang put down the coffee cup in her hand. Took a look at me. Said, I took photography in college. I also once thought about becoming a photographer. Oh. I raised an eyebrow. Yup. I love photography, and it's an amazing profession that captures all the fleeting beauty in the world. I had to admit that people who were teachers had weirdly articulate mouths. Mr. Fang seemed to say why, and then seemed to say nothing. Anyway, I couldn't ask for a reason. Lulu's father, do you think it's okay, from now on, you don't treat me as Lulu's class teacher, you treat me as your client, so that we can communicate well and take the ideal pictures? I thought to myself, how can I treat you as a client? You are obviously my daughter's class teacher. It's not like I've had this idea for a day or two. I've always wanted to take a series of private photos while I'm still young, to leave a nice imprint of certain private parts of my body that never see the light, but unfortunately, I've never been able to find a photographer with the right sensibilities, and I'm also worried that the portraits will be leaked, and you know that we are teachers, and there are some private parts of our body that mustn't be let out to others. I nodded my head to show my understanding. I haven't told you my requirements yet, have I? The effect I want to shoot is attractive without being nasty, erotic but not too provocative, so that people will not stop until they get what they want from one look. That's oddly demanding. I said with a grin. Yes, it's because of the high requirements that I'm looking for you. You are the big brother of this business. Miss Fang gave me a meaningful look and said, and the rarest thing is that your industry character is also the best, which is why I'm relieved to leave you in charge of the machine. My intuition told me that she was definitely not looking for me for this last reason. The real reason she approached me was perhaps because she thought she could hold me. Because I am the parent of one of her students. My daughter goes to a school that has an elementary middle school continuum. She is only in 3rd grade this year and has 6 more years to stay in school. In other words, half of my daughter's future is in Ms. Fang's hands. I certainly understand the stakes. That's why I also intend to do my best to help Ms. Fang take a perfect series of private portraits. I have a private studio in the suburbs, although the location is not good, but it is better because the rent is cheap, surrounded by farmhouses and farmland, the environment is very quiet. I went ahead and set up everything before I invited Mr. Fang over. Unfortunately, the start of the movie didn't go well. I just fiddled with the machines and lights. Miss Fang also changed her clothes, draped in a white bathrobe, slowly walked out of the dressing room. Her snow-white ankles looked unusually attractive in the high-heel slippers. I lowered the brightness of the spotlight. The ambiguous atmosphere was baked just right. Everything was just right. My emotional value was stretched to its highest. Under my guidance, Teacher Fang shook off her bathrobe and sat on the shag carpet I had laid out long ago, striking a rhyming pose. Miss Fang, don't be nervous, slowly open your body and relax your whole body, they will show their fragrance in front of the camera. Teacher Fang raised her head slightly shyly and slowly opened her shoulders. At an important juncture, the door of the studio was pushed open. Teacher Fang and I were both startled. I remembered that I had clearly locked it. After the door was opened, a voice and silhouette jumped in at the same time. Fan Dafang, you're hiding from me and screwing around here again, aren't you? I'm going to arrest and parade you 2 scummy men and women today. I was instantly relieved. This was my last girlfriend, Yao Shuehe. Beautiful but brainless woman. She used to be my client as well and became my girlfriend after she approached me for a private portrait. At this moment I regretted to death why I didn't change the password of the photo studio right away when I broke up. Yao Shuehe, grow a fucking brain, I broke up with you all years ago. Don't interfere with my work here, haha, or I'll report you to the police and arrest you. Yao Shuehe sneered and said, you report it to the police, I'll see how you can explain to the police what serious things you did with this woman in this small room. The police's mind is not as dirty as yours. By Shueha saying such vulgar language like this in front of Mr. Fang, I was simply mad at her. Yao Shueha ignored me as she walked over to Teacher Fang, circled around her, condescendingly looked down on Teacher Fang's figure, and let out a disdainful che from her mouth. Fake. It's all fake, Fan Da Fang, don't be fooled by this fox. Look at her, if she didn't go under the knife, if it wasn't fake, would it be this big and curvy? And, it's curvy and round, it must be padded with silicone. I hugged my arms and looked at Yao Shueha, slowly spat out a sentence, can you stop embarrassing yourself here? It's fine if you're an airfield yourself, don't think of all the women in the world as being like you, please. I guess my words hurt Yao Shueha very badly, her tears flowed down, and while crying, she yelled, You Chen Shimi, you swore to me that you would love me forever when you were sleeping, you shall not die. Teacher Fang calmly pulled over his bathrobe to wrap his body and said, Sorry, our relationship is not what you think. Please go out first and don't get in the way of our shooting. Yao Shueha was still playing hard to get, so I dragged her out of the studio and persuaded her to get into the car. Back at the studio, I immediately apologized to Teacher Fang. It's okay. Who doesn't have a past? It's normal. If I were a woman, and I saw the man I loved meeting another woman, I would have argued even more than she did. Miss Fang thoughtfully reassured me, sat back down on the shag carpet again, and shook off her robe. I readjusted my emotions. Through the lens, I couldn't resist that voluptuous glow on every part of Ms. Fang's body. The greatest charm of private photography is that it can maximize a woman's charm. Miss Fang slowly opened her dark forest. I have to admit that Ms. Fang is a natural beauty for men. The forest was lush and deep, and there was a dwarf dancing vaguely, calling out to me, and my sweat ran down my neck, soaking the collar of my shirt. I couldn't suppress it any longer and walked up to Mr. Fang, smiled and said, Do you know the highest level of private photography? It's when the photographer and the subject become one, so that the photos can penetrate the consciousness and give life. Really, what does it take to become one? Mr. Fang's eyes widened. I took out a series of private portrait photos that I had taken together for Yao Shueha earlier and showed them to Teacher Fang. This is what I took for my ex-girlfriend. Can you tell it's her? Skin that drips with water, that's nourished by love at its best. Mr. Fang greedily flipped through the photos page by page, his mouth constantly emitting tsk exclamations. It's so beautiful, it's completely different from her in person just now, it's amazing, your photography skills are awesome. I knew that at this moment Teacher Fang had been completely impressed by me. I slowly reached out my hand and held the mountains. Come on, let's create the most beautiful moment of your life together. The shooting after the clouds and rain did have more feeling, and under the camera, Miss Fang turned into another woman. Miss Fang was very satisfied with this series of private photos. I also keep my promise, did not leave the negatives and copies, will be this set of private photo all to her. What I didn't expect was that this set of private photos would fall into my hands again after a week. It was sent to me by my friend Lu Weijun. When I received, I ate a hard surprise. After Lu Weijun sent it to me, he asked me if it was my handwriting. It looks like your style to me. Don't say you didn't take it. I thought about it and replied back with a yes. How did you get this set of private photos? I couldn't help but ask him. This was ceiling-level privacy, Mr. Fang wouldn't leak it out so easily. I kind of wondered if Lu Weijun had a hacker girlfriend. But I quickly dismissed this idea. Lu Weijun and I were the same, we both didn't like to mess with women who had too much brain. Teacher Fang sent this to me. I frowned. It was then that I remembered that Lu Weijun had a son with his ex-wife, who went to the same school as my daughter, but in a different class. It wasn't strange that he knew Teacher Fang then. What was strange was why Teacher Fang would send such a private photo to LV Weijun. I deliberately made a joke and said, You didn't pick up Teacher Fang's cell phone, did you? Fang Yu has had a crush on me for a long time. Let me tell you, she even tried to dominate me once. Luckily I have a strong sense of principle and don't date highly intelligent women, otherwise I would have been unprotected. I didn't expect Fang Yu to be so epileptic that she would shoot something like this and send it to me. Honestly, she does have a good figure. If she wasn't a teacher at my son's school, I guess I wouldn't be able to resist taking her. My mind was a bit spinning for a moment, and when I realized it, I was instantly a bit inexplicably angry. I had always thought that Ms. Fang was a woman who pursued ultimate perfection, and only then would she go out of her way to beg me to help her take private photos, and I never dreamed that her taking private photos would turn out to be a gift to the man she had a crush on. It's insane. Who in their right mind would do such a thing? In fact, I was in such an awkward relationship with her before the photo shoot. I hung up the phone and thought about it, but I still felt uneasy. When Ms. Fang came to my daughter's home for tutoring on the weekend, I took advantage of my daughter's 10-minute break to call Ms. Fang out on the balcony. I smoked a cigarette and contemplated how to speak without hurting her. "Daddy Lulu, is there something you want to say to me but don't know how to say it?" Ms. Fang gave me a look. I panicked in my heart. The hand that lit the cigarette shook. It's like this, maybe you don't know, Lu Weijun and I have been friends for many years. We've known each other since we were teenagers. Lu Weijun, he has a girlfriend, it seems like he's getting ready to get married. It was hard for me to say everything I wanted to say. I felt that this was really not an easy relationship to smooth out. Lu Weijun was my friend, Teacher Fang and I had that kind of relationship, and Teacher Fang's crush was my friend. I felt that my head was getting a little bigger. But Teacher Fang didn't react at all when she heard it. It was just a faint "oh." "How do you know I like Weijun?" Teacher Fang thought about it and asked again. "He sent me that set of private photos and asked if I took them for you." "Then what did he tell you?" "Did he say that the private photos I took looked good? Better than the ones his girlfriend took?" Teacher Fang's eyes were shining and kept asking me. "He didn't say anything." "No way. The private photos I took are unrivaled in the world." "Didn't he like his girlfriend because she took a set of private photos?" "I'm sure the ones I took are 100 times better than his girlfriend's. I won't lose to her." I twisted my head to look at Mr. Fang. This instant I truly felt the savagery of a proud daughter of heaven like her. I guessed that she had excelled in her studies since she was a child, so she shouldn't have ever lost. That's why she cares so much about winning and losing, so much that she has no bottom line. I let out a sigh. Why bother? Old Lu is also about to get remarried. Ms. Fang, you are in such a superior condition. I'm afraid that the boyfriend you find in the future will be 1,000 times better than him. So what if I get a license? Getting a license won't stop me from chasing him. The love I want doesn't need to last forever, as long as I once had it. Ms. Fang said obstinately. I didn't want to continue discussing this topic with her, it was too awkward. I wanted to leave, but Ms. Fang pulled my sleeve. Lulu's father, since you and Weijun are friends, help me out for once. I promise you that I will wholeheartedly help tutor Lulu so that she can go to a key high school, and in the future she will be able to go to 985 and a prestigious school just like me. Okay. I couldn't listen anymore. I yelled at her, stop being crazy, okay. You and Weijun can never be together. He won't love you. I watched Ms. Fang fly out of the balcony with tears in her eyes. I had a feeling that my heart was being cut to pieces. Although my feelings for Teacher Fang could not be described as love, I admired her madness of loving just to the point of recklessness. I am worried that Ms. Fang will not die, continue to pester me about this issue, and then every time she came up to my house to give my daughter tutoring homework, I intentionally used work as an excuse to go out, wait until she left, and then I went home. Once I deliberately asked my daughter, did Ms. Fang ever ask you questions about your father? My daughter said, no. Miss Fang just asked when you were coming home. I said I didn't know. You're always away. My heart was a little sour when I heard that. I knew that Ms. Fang had not given up, but her self-esteem would not allow her to beg me in a low voice. After dragging on like this for a few weeks, I finally agreed to her. I agreed to do Ms. Fang a favor not because I was worried that she wouldn't continue tutoring my daughter, but because I saw that she was burning herself out over this relationship. I kind of pitied her for it. Like Lu Weijun, I've loved picking up women since I was a kid and have a love history that can't be written on a page. We are both flirtatious men who never cared about how many women we had dated. It was actually quite easy to arrange for her and Lu Weijun to experience one. I found an opportunity to ask a few beautiful women, and Lu Weijun together. We went to Long Kwai Fong to drink, and got drunk until I sent Lu to the hotel, and then let me make a call for Ms. Fong to go over. I wishfully thought that as long as I finished Ms. Fong's dream, she would not be so stubborn to insist on going after Lu Weijun. Although the woman chasing the man through the veil, but Lu this kind of man, he absolutely cannot see the woman who chased him backwards. After that night, Ms. Fong didn't mention Lu Weijun in front of me again. I thought she was finally satisfied, and I also felt that a pile of heart. After all, Miss Fong and I also have a foggy love affair. I do not want her because of excessive pursuit of a prodigal son and ended up with a bloody reputation. Later on, when I thought back, I felt that I was still too naive. I thought I had experienced enough women to know women well. In fact, I didn't. My help only indulged Ms. Fong's greed. The day after I received Lu's wedding invitation, which was a Tuesday, there was no tutoring scheduled, but Ms. Fong came to my house. She told me bluntly, I can't let Lu get married, the person he marries must be me. I was a bit fed up. Men get tired of pestering women. I said, LV won't marry you, his girlfriend is the daughter of the boss in the company he works for. Unless you have a more powerful dad than her. Miss Fong said disdainfully, what's so great about that woman? I've met her, I'm younger than her and prettier than her, I'm also a graduate of a prestigious school, isn't marrying a wife like me better than marrying a rich girl? I didn't know what to say to make her understand that LV would never marry her. LV had also said that women like Ms. Fong, who thought she had a bit of culture and a bit of looks, could actually get laid with a bit of effort, and were not worth anything at all. In order to keep her from flying off the handle, I wanted her to recognize the truth. I told her when and where Lu was getting married. I thought that as long as she watched Lu walk into the wedding hall with another woman, she would die of this heart and would not make waves again. I arrived at 7:50 on the day of the wedding because I had something to do and the banquet was supposed to start at 7 p.m. When I arrived near the hotel, I found that the traffic jam was so bad that my car could not move forward at all. I had to park my car at the street parking space and walk there. When I got to the front door of the hotel, I found 2 ambulances parked and a car with flashing red lights. My heart beat faster for no reason. I jogged into the hotel lobby, a stretcher passed me by, I subconsciously turned around and saw a hand on the stretcher slipped outside the white cloth. The hand was white and slender, with nice skin and lovely oval fingertips. I recognized the hand, it was Teacher Fong's. I turned around and impulsively pulled back the white cloth and realized that lying underneath it was none other than Teacher Fong. She was wearing a white dress, which was covered in blood. She seemed to be not breathing, and her face was horribly white. My head was dizzy. I hurriedly held on to one of the attendants next to me. What's going on here? I asked the caregiver anxiously. The red has turned into white. A man can't be too flirtatious, and if he is too flirtatious, he will have retribution. The groom and the bride were in the middle of the wedding ceremony, when the mistress came to make trouble, and released the video of her and the groom going to the hotel for everyone to see, and the future father-in-law slapped the groom, and the groom got angry, so he stabbed the mistress with the knife he used to cut the wedding cake. I was so shocked that I froze in place for a long time and couldn't move. How did things get to this point? Miss Fong, such an elegant and haughty woman, was so calculating that she filmed her and Lu sleeping in the hotel that night. I guess she must have gone prepared. It's possible that she was thinking that in case LV got married to another woman, she'd raise the video so that he wouldn't be able to get married. I also didn't expect LV to be so impulsive. This marriage of interest seems to be very important to him, otherwise he wouldn't have gone red-eyed and stabbed Ms. Fong with a knife. I regret it. Truly. I stood guard in the hospital's intensive care unit for 12 whole days before I waited for Mr. Fong to turn the corner. The day Mr. Fong was pushed to the general ward, I felt like I was living again. I didn't love Ms. Fong, but I couldn't let her die because of me. I thought that when she got better and recovered, I wanted to talk to her again, and I hoped that she would let go and not fall in love with a flirtatious man like Louis and me, who would take her life. She died once, she should be able to hear me. In this world, nothing is more precious than one's own life.